Today I'll be going over my current locomotive roster in both HO and N scale, and all the projects I hope to be doing this year. I'm going to say right now, most of these are in rough or in incomplete shape, but I'm hoping to show how I'm going to finish up these projects on this channel, how to super detail them, and how to make a locomotive that's 50 years old look like one that's maybe only 10. I'd also say around 80% of these, when I bought them, never ran. And currently, most of them do, which is my goal on the channel. And I just hope to collect them and keep the rare ones and the old ones in a good running state, so maybe I can upgrade them later, or maybe I can turn them into something that you guys will recommend on this channel. Either way, here's the rest of the video. This next one here is my first ever locomotive I ever bought myself, an N scale. This was certainly a rough unit when I bought it. It was only 20 bucks. And it did run, but ran poorly. It's an old Bachmann. I started super detailing it recently, but kind of gave up on it because I just wanted a something nicer for myself and something I didn't have to necessarily work on. You know, a gift, which I actually got for myself for Christmas break. But it needs a lot of work. It needs a repaint. But this really was the very first paint scheme for my railroad, the Tillamook and Northern. And it was a very poorly done green and yellow scheme. And it probably would have been all right, but I used enamel paints and I pretty quickly stripped all it off and started over. And it's been sitting on my bench for over a month now. But I hope that'll probably end up being a very good N scale super detail as well as painting project that I hope you guys learn from. And honestly, I think it'll be a really good example of how even a cheap, crappy locomotive can look really good once you put in a little work. On to locomotive number 2. This is definitely one of my favorites, and it's a very good early scheme for my railroad. It again is a Tillamook Northern unit, and really it's only weighing on decals. And I tried not to take inspiration from Burlington Northern, though it looks like it. I'll show a picture of one of their locomotives here if you don't know. But they're very similar. It's a good locomotive. It's an old Concord PA1. It's a little oversized for my railroad, so I don't run it often. But it looks nice. And actually recently, very recently, in the past week, I bought a etched brass kit to detail it with. It's very nice, but I'm not really sure when I'll do that, but probably sometime later in the year. This is actually part of a 3-unit set. I bought them all for $5 each. There's a B unit, but I don't run that because it has zinc pest and I never painted it. This one I was always planning to put into Santa Fe paint. I even bought the decals for it. But that's probably not going to happen unless there's some popular request on a painting tutorial for that video. But yeah, they're very solid models and they're very good runners, and I recommend them highly for anyone who's beginning. Because seriously, you can buy one of these for 30 bucks and I guarantee you it'll run, even though they're pushing 40 years old now. I'd only recommend the Concord and Kato made ones because I had another one. You shouldn't even bother. I forgot what brand it was, but these are very solid runners. I recommend them to anyone starting at N scale in the hobby. Here is project or locomotive number 5. I was planning on releasing a painting tutorial in this video to prove that you could brush paint and it would look good. I think it does. It serves the point, but it's rough, and I did use an airbrush for most of it and touch it up with a brush, but it doesn't look that good. The paint is it's hard to tell in the video. However, it is much brighter at the front because that's where I did a lot more touch-ups with a brighter blue paint. I might just leave it the way it is though and give it some decals once I make them. But that'll be a tutorial for another day if I ever make it at all. Here is locomotive number 6, I think. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It does run. It has nice knuckle couplers and N scale, which are hard to find. Someone already did a conversion kit on this. I tried to repaint it, and it was going to be a fun, simple, and easy project. It's been here for over a year and has not received any paint because the paint won't come off. No matter how long I soaked it in rubbing alcohol, refused to come off. I'm honestly thinking about using brake cleaner, but then I gave up because the inside of the shell cracked. You can see the white marks of super glue in there, as well as the cab. It's harder to see, but they're both damaged, and the only good part left is the railings, which are rare because they break often, and the chassis. Everything else has gotten damaged in one way or another. So, and because I got that RSD 12, the blue and white one you saw earlier, I severely wonder if it's even worth working on this anymore. But again, I said I'd work on all the locomotives make at least one video on them this year. So this might be the only video it's in, but if there's popular requests to see me work on this, quite literally a basket case, I'll do it. Locomotive number 7. This is a Baldwin S12, the only Baldwin I've ever owned in, I think, in HO and N scale. Now this might look a little funny to you, and this is honestly the most expensive locomotive I've ever bought. It was $125, which may seem excessive, but it's the only S12 you can buy in N scale, and it's made of brass, which is typically handmade, and it's already painted, which makes it doubly expensive. It didn't run when I got it, and it's very, very nice, but the paint I don't think is very good. You can see it in the video. It's clearly bubbled up, and it needs repaint to even run on my railroad in the first place, considering it's in Washington. It runs okay. It's either my track work or the power pickup system on this. It is spotty in spots, of course. It is all right. I like it, but I think it needs more weight, and it needs some upgrades to keep it viable on my layout, which I'm perfectly fine with doing. I've already worked on a lot of die-cast stuff in HO scale, so I imagine brass and N scale will come with its own challenges, but it should be somewhat interesting to do. I'm going to make a video of this hopefully soon, at least painting it, because painting brass is definitely a skill. You know what's better than one locomotive? 2 locomotives. I bought one of them at a hobby show. I don't remember which. They're both the same row number and paint. They're Alco S2s made by Arnold Rivarossi, and they're both very good prices. This one, I'm going to assume this is the one from the hobby show, around $40, and this one around $50 plus shipping, because I bought that on eBay. Now, why would anyone own 2 of the same locomotives? Well, they're supposed to run very nice, and I say supposed to because I've never seen either of them run. I'd love to show you, but both of their gears are broken on their axles, and I cannot find replacements. Well, I did, but they're $90, and these things are only around worth $120, and considering I spent $50 on one and then spending another $90, it's simple math. I'm not buying them. So I did try and fix them, and actually got one gear working, I mean. But I broke one in the process, and it took me hours to figure out. I'm not entirely sure if it's worth it, but if you guys want to see me do a gear repair video on how you're supposed to fix your N-scale gears without buying new ones, I can try and make one. I can't guarantee you it'll work, but leave a comment and tell me what I should do. But they're both very, very nice models, and their hoods are actually made of metal for weight, so they're actually rather heavy, and they're actually heavier than some of the other larger units I have. And they're supposed to run very well, and it's one of the very few affordable locomotives you can buy in N-scale that's a small switcher like this, that's not in brass or something like that. But it hopefully will be a nice addition to my N-scale roster once they work. This one's definitely an oddball. It's a Concours. It runs as if it had an on-off switch, so it's one speed, but it's consistent. And I don't like it. It's an SW1500 CAF in Burlington Northern colors. I don't have a use for it. It doesn't run that well. The underside the details are basic at best. The molding on top of the shell is nice, but it just sits too high. The wheels look odd. It just doesn't look right, and I can't really use it on my layout for anything. So it's been sitting in a box for better part of a year. Seriously, if you want it, I'd gladly take $25 for it because I bought it for $20. But yeah, you probably won't see this one this year, unless, of course, by a popular demand. Now for this one, it's going to be hard to tell whether this is a pile of parts or a locomotive. it's essentially both. This is the original frame. This was, and technically still is, a Mahano Alco RSD15. And yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but it's pretty crap. It's dimensionally inaccurate. The parts are everywhere and anywhere. They've been scattered to the four corners of the world. And the metal frame here is not original. It just holds the gears for the original frame, and it was a real project, which I completely gave up on when I bought this. Because that one's better, it looks better, he had less work, ran smoother, and was overall a better project. But you can definitely tell how in-depth I started getting into some of these projects of mine, how far I'm willing to go just to make a cheap model. Because I think in total, so far, I've spent $20 on the shell, original frame, and original motor, and gears. That was $20 total. And then $15 on the metal frame and this motor here. That's been it. So it hasn't been that much, and considering the only other RSD15 on the market is from Broadway Limited and costs close to $300, I'm not swinging that much cash. So this will have to do. But also, I just deal with the fact I think this might be too big. And, well, size isn't everything, but I think in this case, it's just too big for my layout. And it'll probably sit in this box. And I just hope someone actually says they want to see me finish this. Because otherwise, I'm probably never going to. Now, that's it for the N scale section. And then after this, I'm going straight to the HO scale section. It's another kit bashing project. This was some type of Tyco shell, and I did have inspiration photos for it, and I mean, it's something all right. This is something called the Tyco MU2 drive, and I converted it to have four-wheel pickup, and I only have to use one truck to power the whole thing. Actually, it does, technically, on a good day, if it has good tailwind behind it, it does run. But it sparks a lot, and I'm kind of terrified by what I made, so I stopped working on it. But this thing, I just kind of took the original shell. I can probably show you a picture of what it might have looked like. Not this exact model, but a picture from online, probably. I just started going at it with a hacksaw, and I think I started making, like a weird, oh, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not complete. I'd love to finish it up, but it'll be what it'll be. It needs a lot of work, and it's supposed to be like a shop critter for my dad's HO scale layout. And, it'll be something in the future. I am excited to work on it, but it just fell behind a lot of other similar projects, which you'll soon see. Now, this next one is very uncharacteristic of me because it's a relatively new model. It's by Athearn, and it's got good paint, some all right details, and, you might say it's just perfect. And if you think I'm going to surprise you with gear issues, I'm not, because it runs very well. It has everything. It still has the mesh intact, still has these fans. I just don't need it. I bought it to flip it and to sell it, and then I realized I can't find any handrails for it because Athearn doesn't make replacement handrails for their newer stuff. I forget what it is. I think it's an SD40T-2, whatever that means to you. It's a Southern Pacific, and I don't like it. I don't want it. I think it looks all right, but I paid $20 for it at a train show, and I haven't touched it since. So if you want it or want to see me work on it, go ahead. I probably really won't want to, but if you really want to make my day miserable, I'll work on it for you guys. This one here is probably maybe my second most favorite of my HO scale collection. It's an Alco C628. Not a C630, I think. It's by Stewart, I think. Or, no, it's by Bowser, sorry. It's a very nice model. Again, I bought it for $20 at that same train show. That was a very good day for me. I barely spent $80 and landed around 8 locomotives in one day. And a lot of parts for other projects. And it's a good model. These were not original. I had to rebuy those from Bowser. And I mean, it's good. It's very smooth runner. It's very, very slow if it wants to be. I like it. It had some cosmetic damage, paint, and whatever. I just touched up with a brush, and yeah, you wouldn't notice. The only thing is, though, these handrails are so delicate. One's already popped out here, and there's already one broken here, and that was a brand new replacement set I bought less than a month ago. So, yeah, this doesn't isn't really a project, but if you guys want to see me work on something newer, want to change the pace from the other stuff that's about to come up, I'll gladly detail this one, though it doesn't really need it. This one isn't particularly special. It's an 040 by Mahano, die-cast shell. It weighs, I'd say, around a half a pound. It is incredibly heavy, and hasn't run in over 2 years because I got lazy. Yep, I maintained it. I did a little, I took it apart, did a little greasing on it, and then it stopped working, and I haven't been into it since, and it probably actually needs around 5 minutes of maintenance that I've been deferring for over 2 years. Yeah, that's all I have to say about this one. It was a gift when I was very young from an older neighbor of mine who also had a model train set, and pretty much why I keep it for sentimental value. But yeah, I might have plans to super detail it in the future. Now, this one I really only kept for its looks and the fact that I do like brass locomotives. This is an EMD GP9 made by Tenshodo sometime in the mid 50s. Has the original motor, has really original everything. I think even the original plastic drive shafts by Tenshodo still, which I think break a lot, so that's kind of rare. Factory paint, and it looks very good. Very glossy paint. The decals are still actually intact, and I bought two of these, and they're both exactly the same road number, and they just look good. I mean, this one does run. It's the worst of the two, and the other one is currently on my dad's layout, where I can't really get it right now, but that one runs a lot better. That one has knuckle couplers and everything. But this thing still has all the bells and whistles. It's missing a single stanchion here. Really bent piece of brass wire will fix that. But otherwise, it's in perfect shape, and I don't run it that often. I just like having it on a shelf and looking at it. And I like the Tenshodos, but because it's brass, it's harder to work on and harder to detail. So it really just sits on a shelf. And here begins my love of die-cast locomotives. They're old, but they're weighty, and they can pull a lot of stuff. This thing's been stripped. It was a Santa Fe in freight colors, which is yellow and blue. It looked all right. Someone didn't do a very good paint job on it, but I bought it off eBay. It has a lot of parts lying around my workbench, some brass mesh for these here. There should be a screen covering them, but I took those off and I stripped the paint. You can tell I started to detail this one. I drilled some holes in for this grab iron. I'm hoping to make this look like Ontario, New York, and Western FT, EMD FT locomotive. It'll take a while because it's die-cast and it just is slow to work on. You can detail them, but you got to have a lot of patience, which is fortunately something I don't have. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of that, but I do have the skills and tools to do it. And I think I'm the only person left in the world who likes to super detail these. I actually am not even going to say the word like. I can super detail these. No one else really gives them the time of day. These things really are antiques now, and I just want to prove to people that even though it might be an antique, it still can look like a new one, as you're about to see with the next project. Well, I did say this one didn't look like an antique. It does now, but it won't, hopefully, in a month or two. This is one I'm really hoping to get a video done on because I recently ordered new handrail stanchions for it. And again, for the older or just more knowledgeable among us, this is an old hobby town. The shell alone probably weighs around half a pound because it's die-cast metal. And it's got some great details on it. It's very dimensionally accurate, it was the first locomotive ever. This is the first model of this locomotive ever to get that right. It shares the same shell that Hobbytown made as an RS3, which I'm sure most of you don't even know, but and currently it has the 6-axle trucks, which makes it an RSD 4 or 5. It really only depends on how this is arranged. This was originally a Pennsylvania unit. I'm currently transitioning it into a Central New Jersey unit because that's just what I prefer. It's also very easy to paint. Yeah, I'm hoping to super detail this one, and this one will hopefully look brand new and like a store-bought model if I ever find the time. But, this one is something I'm hoping to be very proud of when it's done. Now, this thing is the definition of an antique. I bought it for 35 bucks at a train show, and I didn't know what I was getting into. This was my substitution for a brass model at the time because I didn't own any. And this was about a year or two ago. And I wanted a brass model very badly, but they weren't selling any. And, well, they were, but they are well over 200 bucks that day. So I bought this. It's die cast, mostly, except for the roof. And this is an open frame motor. It's absolutely ancient. And I'm sorry about the horrible electrical work. That's all mine. Because this thing, the motor was so rusty, every pole stuck to the magnet. It literally had a bridge of rust in between. And I didn't have a motor at the time that I could put into it, not easily at least. So I actually just filed, and not filed, but I sanded down everything. I took it completely apart. Never expected it to work. Got it working on the first night I had it. The motor running, I mean. This thing did not work, and only one truck in the front is powered. I've never heard of this brand before. It's called Andico or something like that. I think completely home built because some of the details look like they're off the shelf, and clearly whoever made this, I don't think had any idea what they're doing because both these um, both these wheels when I got it, the reason these are plastic now is because they were both brass and neither were insulated. So the second it touched my track, it completely shorted out. I'm not going to say it runs well, and I'm definitely not going to say it runs slow, but it does run. And I honestly just caught feelings for this one because I think this is someone's very homemade kit bash or project, and I didn't want to see it just get thrown out by someone else. And this clearly needed a lot of work and still does. And it does have parts for it lying around, and I think this might have been something made in the mid 40s or 50s. And so I really only saved it for that purpose. But, it'll be an interesting project, I hope. And I actually bought a new pantograph for it here. So it actually it is wired on the roof to run off a pantograph or wire like a real trolley. So I'd actually be excited to try that, though I don't have the facilities to actually run it like that. I like to give it that ability. But yeah, that'll be a very interesting project. Now, this one is an interesting one. It's another Hobbytown. I really do like them because the drive is so simple and you can still buy parts for them, new. I like it, but also because it comes with a twin, this one here. They're both Alco PA1s, and they need each other to run. This one technically doesn't, but to have a coupler on this end, it does need that. Because they actually connect in the middle with a little brass tail here, and they feed power to one another. This one feeds power to this one, which powers these trucks, which are all geared. It's an interesting setup, and I like it. It's a little inefficient, and it's a little hard on the motor, but it's interesting to see. And these things also have plenty of weight. This is actually an Athearn shell on top of them, which I learned from talking to a few older guys that was actually something you could buy from the factory. It was cheaper than buying their die-cast shell, and it probably looked better too. I'm not sure though. When I bought this, I put it on the track as soon as I got home, and the motor quite literally caught fire. It didn't melt the shell, but it immediately started smoking. And it was actually a Mishima motor, which is apparently a very good brand. And I put in the largest motor I had at the time. And it runs very smoothly now, and it runs very well, actually. I'd run it on a club layout if I actually spent time detailing it, which is exactly what I intended to do. But when I bought the Hobbytown RSD 4, 5, whatever it is, that one took priority, and so this one's been sitting here ever since. But it's another project I'd love to do and show you guys. Now here we've got another pile of parts, and I do have a motor for this. It did run for approximately 15 seconds on just before Christmas Day this year. And I've been procrastinating finishing it. It was another Christmas gift for my friend, and I can say only one thing to you. Do not try to finish 2 scratch building projects in 2 weeks. It will not work. You will run into problems you were not expecting, and you won't get either done. As you can tell here, this one, the General Electric 23 ton, is that was the other second project. I actually tried to finish that in 3 days, paint, details, and all. This, however, I gave myself a week, so I felt like I had plenty of time. And this is part of the reason I haven't made a new video, because I worked on this for 4 to 5 hours straight, 2 days in a row. And I was miserable after that, and it pretty much burned me out, and I haven't touched the table since. So this is actually a Tyco Chattanooga, and it was supposed to be ON 30, so it's an O scale locomotive that runs on HO scale track, so O scale narrow gauge, and it can be a very specific and somewhat rare configuration of wheels. It's a 240, and I don't really think any were ever made. There were a few, but they were very, very rare. So that's why I wanted to make it for my friend. I did a lot of research, put a lot of time in, and it still hasn't worked because in the last couple of days, actually, there was a chance I could have finished it, but in the last couple of days, it developed gear issues, and it just wouldn't run. It would run for somewhat smoothly for about a minute, and then it would randomly seize. And honestly, I'd love a little bit of help to figure out why. But these are arranged correctly, but these bolts just keep screwing out, and I don't know if you can see that, but these little bolts here always end up coming out, no matter what I do. And the wheels would randomly seize up when I had the gear in it. I got so frustrated with it, I just ended up ripping the whole gear out, and yeah, that's as far as I got with it. I got very frustrated, but I do have about a 30-second video of it running that I can show you.